Hi everyone, happy May. Brenna Baucum, Collective Wealth Planning. I want to take a few minutes this month to talk about something that's central to prudent planning, and that's long-term care. It's been on my mind more lately, not because it's new, but because the numbers are changing, and boy, are they changing quickly. Over the past few years, long-term care costs have risen significantly. Home care and assisted living costs are up about 50% since 2019. Nursing home costs have increased as well, and in many cases, we're seeing annual costs approach or exceed about $100,000 per year, depending on what level of care you have and where you live. At the same time, more than half of adults turning 65 today are expected to need some form of long-term care during their lifetime. So when we step back and we just look at that rising costs and the high likelihood you're going to need this care, it becomes clear that this is not a fringe issue. It's something that deserves a really prominent place in your plan. And yet, it is one that most overlook. So part of that might be because it's uncomfortable to think about. Part of it might be because there's a misconception that Medicare will cover it, which in most cases it will not, beyond very limited situations. What I try to reframe for my clients is this: long-term care planning isn't just about covering a potential expense. It's about preserving choice. Choice in where you receive care, choice in how that care looks, and protecting your family from having to step into a role without a clear plan in place. For some people, that planning might involve insurance. For others, it's about earmarking assets or thinking through how income and investments could support care later on. There's no one right answer, like with most of financial planning, but having a conversation around it is where the value starts. And interestingly, this conversation often it sits right alongside another one that I have with my clients fairly often, which is how retirement actually unfolds and changes over time. And that's a great segue into our resources for this month. So the first one, to read, offers a thoughtful perspective on what it calls your 12 good years. The idea that while retirement may last decades, the years where you have the most energy, independence, and flexibility are often more limited. So it's a good reminder to be intentional, not just about planning for later, but also about how you use the time and the years that are right in front of you. To watch, you can catch our recording from the recent webinar, Helping Women Plan with Purpose, where we collaborate with a local estate planning attorney and an area hospice program to walk through some of the key financial, estate, and end-of-life planning considerations that are unique to women. To listen, you can certainly watch this one too. It's on YouTube. It's a 10-part series called Life After Caregiving, Living Solo. We were honored to join host Elaine Sanchez to talk through navigating finances after the loss of a loved one. You'll also find our quarterly market update and help put some of that market activity you've been hearing into context. As you go through these resources, my hope is that they give you a bit of space to think not just about the numbers, but also about how all these pieces fit together. Planning for what may come later while still being intentional about how you live today. That is always the balance we are trying to strike in financial planning. As always, I'm here as a resource for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll see you next month.